This story takes place on the island of Stronsay, one of the North Isles in Orkney. And it involves a young lady by the name of Ursula.
You don't see so many ferries around the West Mainland anymore, and there is a reason for that. You see, a terrible thing happened long ago.
Her father died.
There was a terrible
And
thing.
she could make her own choices about who she married, and she owned everything around her.
Stories have been around as long as language has been around, and these stories are very much part of our cultural identity, part of what makes Orcadians Orcadians. Orkney is quite a unique place. We have, 5,000-year-old villages still standing, stone circles, just standing on a shore watching huge breakers rolling in from the Atlantic Ocean. It's really quite hypnotic. It's violent but peaceful at the same time. And it was always that kind of ever-present risk and dangers from the sea as well. That has a strong influence on the folk tales.
Orkney has a very, very rich heritage of folklore. About the strange creatures, about the Selkie folk who are half seal and half human. Every mound in a field has its little goblins and fairies and brownies. Every age that humans go through, there's this search for some sort of spiritual meaning. Those kind of connections with the land, with the sea, with the sky. And I think folklore is a way of exploring those things. The Orkney Storytelling Festival is in its 10th year in its present form. We have wonderful invited storytellers who come from all over the world. Sometimes the stories are very similar. A lot of places have a creation myth about how an island was formed, how a mountain came into being, and there's a lot of similarities. It's wonderful if people come and hear a story from Africa or a story from Norway or a story from North America, a story from Orkney, and they think, I wonder if there are any stories about the place that I come from.
Now, we're going to hear from a lot of different people today, friends from near and far.
You can decide at the end if this really happened.
The waves were coming up over the harbour, the wind was blowing, and
every single time she broke a lump of peat, a mouse fell out until there was a whole squad of mice.
The next day, Hare showed up at Otter's place, and Otter had prepared a beautiful feast for him.
We also have an event in the old school Quailu, which brings together people who play ancient musical instruments, who are going to explore all the connections between song and folklore and history.
Escapism was a huge part of the storytelling tradition. I mean, it was entertainment as well. In the evenings, you got together and you told stories. It was the kind of glue that held the fabric of society together.
Tonight is the last night of the Orkney Storytelling Festival, and it's the grand finale, so it's the absolute best of the best. This is when the storytellers are really, the biggest, their best stories. And we sit and we have a little drink, and we really just enjoy all the very best that the festival has to offer. So it's a lovely finish to the whole festival.
I think stories really unite people, and I think if you have this shared experience and shared cultural heritage, it does make you stronger, because especially if there are values in the stories that you really identify with and that are really important to you, you say, yes, I belong to the culture that owns these stories.
For storytelling and the folklore to survive, it has to have a framework, it has to be an organised thing. And that's one of the reasons that we do what we do. It's one of the reasons why we have the festival.
I think that the Orkney Storytelling Festival has really brought something back to the culture again. People are coming from all over the world just to hear stories here in Orkney. It doesn't matter if you're a lord or as poor as a church mouse, you're all welcome.